Welcome back, guys. Today we're out on an early summer foray. Let's see what we can find in the woods. So it's been very, very rainy here in the last 24 hours to 48 hours. It's very humid and hot. Well, it's not actually that hot. It's probably about 23, 24 degrees, but the humidity is probably 80 to 90%. So I feel really sticky right now. So you have a lot of clothes on right now, and that is because it is just, the bugs are horrific. So I'm just walking through the woods. I love mushroom foraging just after a heavy rainfall, especially when it's still a bit overcast outside, because they tend to really stand out against the background. So right now, I'm looking for some late spring, early summer mushrooms. The boletes are going to be coming out very soon. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing any right now, but let's go check for some oysters. We may have some luck. I have a spot where I pick oyster mushrooms, and I want to just check on them. There's been a bit of an early, like see tiny little flushes on them. I just want to see if they are ready to go. So I'm in a bit of a mixed forest right now. I've got spruce, cedar, also have some birch and aspen, and a few maple and some oak. So just going to look around, see what we can see. There's a spot I usually find a lot of chanterelles towards the later parts of summer into July, beginning of August. And of course, they're not out just yet, but I'm going to be keeping my eye out. It'll be a while. I can't wait for the chanterelles and the hedgehog mushrooms to come out. They are by far my most favorite mushrooms. Of course, morels are awesome as well. So nothing down here just yet. I have to be patient. Down here, of course, this is a type of strawberry down here. It's very low laying ground cover, so it's flowering out, but there's really nothing on there. The berries this year are awesome. As you guys know, if you follow my Instagram, I grabbed a bunch of dewberries recently. They're one of the the earliest fruits we have, including strawberries as well, including the field strawberries. So dewberries are awesome. Currently making a wild soda with them, so pretty tasty. They taste a bit like raspberries. They are also called a dwarf raspberry. So I'm really looking forward to drinking that, but it's going to take a bit of time to age that. Here's the dewberry, not this leaf, but that. So that's the dwarf raspberry. So you can see it's still green, and we're still going to be waiting to harvest them in this area, but they have a wonderful flavor. Let's play a game of Do You See What I See? Take a look. There's some oysters. A little bit high up and they look a little bit aged. But all through this area here, this is an aspen tree. These are called aspen oysters. They're a bit different than some of you that used to some of the other summer oysters. So there you go. There is a little tiny flush just starting right there. You can see I've flagged off this area. Let's take a look. These ones are a bit high up. I'm going to follow another trail. I have two other trees. That's the thing, oysters, they keep coming back to the same area, same tree year after year. So, oh yeah, here we go. Let's go to this area I flagged off. Oh yeah, look at that. The mother lode. Look at the middle of the screen, right there. Yeah, all right, score. A mixture of old ones here that aren't that edible, obviously. And a mixture of a fresh flesh. Ooh, yeah. Nice and creamy white. These are Pleurotus populinus, the aspen oyster. They're so good. Pan fried. So let's, oh yeah. There's another little flesh of them right down there. And all throughout these woods, I'll show you guys there's lots more. It's awesome to go mushroom foraging. Again, like I said, when it's a bit overcast, because these guys are like cream color, they stand out like a sore thumb. I'm using my new Garmin, it's a 64S, to mark off where this area is. I obviously didn't mark it off in my old unit, so I'm going to, oopsie, I'm going to do that now. Hard to do this obviously when you're trying to vlog at the same time. So I'm going to name this one Oyster Heaven because there are a lot of oysters in here. I kind of wish this had a touch screen. I know we're so obsessed with having that kind of stuff with our technology nowadays, but that's one thing I would have loved, because I really hate the old school way of typing each one of these in, each one of these letters. So yeah, but overall this is a pretty good unit. It has a hard time locking on in really thick bush, but overall it's not too bad. One thing I want to show you is this area. I do have the bird's eye view loaded onto this unit, but honestly, like, look at that. It's all fuzzed out. Like, I don't know. It's not really worth it, I don't think. I mean, yeah. Oh, there's some other oyster I marked off there. I mean, you can see I'm in heavy tree coverage, but it really doesn't give you a lot of, I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. I'm not a fan. The wind's really coming up. I found my knife. Remember, I lost that on my one foray, and I've got it secured to my bag by a carabiner now. I'm not going to make the same mistake I did the last time. The only thing that saved me was that I could backtrack on my GPS, and I had this red cord on it to be able to find it, so that's awesome. So I'm just going to remove the flesh right here. Alright, so you can see where it's kind of coming out of the bark. You can actually see some other little areas where it's going to flush right up there at the top. These ones are too old, I'm not taking them, and I'm not going to take those ones. We'll just go on to another tree. And here's another flush on a younger aspen. And you can see right there where they're starting to come out. That's what they look like in their juvenile form. And then up here, these ones are a little bit older, but there's a fresh one on this side I'm going to grab. So I turn around, you can see right there, there's some more, so let's go check it out. Well, these ones look pretty pathetic too. I guess I'll just leave them for now. Sun's just starting to come out now, and caught my eye was this branch here. So you might think, hey, yeah, these are oyster mushrooms too, and you know, they're not really growing in clumps. They're the right color, but if you take a look, and you take one off for example, take a look underneath. There's like hexagonal pores underneath. So this is like the hexagonal polypore. It's a polypore mushroom. It is not an edible mushroom, and it's not an oyster mushroom. Let's grab one of my oysters here, and you can see how nice and white they are. Of course, this is the Aspen oyster. Got the gills underneath and that kind of white top to it. And they smell like anise. That's the important. Now, there is another mushroom that grows on wood that's called the angel wings, and it's white too, but I find it's a lot smaller than the oyster mushroom, and it's really thin, but it does have the gills as well. There has been a situation where people were poisoned by angel wings mushrooms in Japan. There was a flush many years ago of angel wings, and some people eat them. But it's with caution, because these individuals that ate them, now they're a bit older people that had major issues with them, but they ate a lot of them because there was a huge flush that year, and people died several weeks later of kidney disease and swelling of the brain. So that's why I don't eat angel wings. There's that risk of toxicity, and a major case report of that with angel wings. So that's one thing you should look out for when you're foraging for oyster mushrooms. It's growing on a conifer. It's not an oyster mushroom, and the ones that I have here, like the Pleurotus populinus, those ones, they smell like anise. Other summer oysters, Pleurotus austratus, they smell a bit like fish. So, and they're of course larger, just like the Aspen oysters, not sort of smaller like the angel wings. So just keep that in mind. And always, always make sure you know what you're doing and identify the mushrooms in at least a couple of books or with an expert. Alrighty, so I just found one more tree that had usable oysters. The rest were just kind of icky. So not too bad, well enough for me for supper, so that's good enough. As I walk out of the forest in the understory here, you can see red clover. So this is awesome to make tea from. And you can see red clover, you've got the red flower or pinky flower here. And if you look at the leaves, obviously leaves of 3, and they've got the little white V on them. Other things that can look like this are aslate clover, and the aslate clover has sort of the red or pink flower, but does not have the white V on it. So this is good. It contains sort of plant estrogen, so some people use it, women in particular, you know, during menopause or things like that. So it just generally makes a really nice tea. So I'm going to harvest the little flower heads right here and put some in my basket. You can see there's a lot of fern in here, and this is Bracken Fern. So this is not ostrich fern that I picked in the spring. This is Bracken Fern, so it's really tall, kind of chest height fern. Beautiful, actually. Sometimes you can see the trails in through here where the deer have kind of gone through. Also down here you can see yarrow. I showed you that in one of my last videos. It's plentiful around here. Has a bitter taste, so if you're making sort of homebrewed beer and stuff like that, this is excellent for it. Again, I use it also as a spice, or people use it also dried up as a styptic powder. So if you cut yourself with a shaving or whatever, or in the woods you have a kind of a paper cut thickness wound, this is a great job, sort of crushed up and put into the wound. This is a good sign. We have some blackberries this year, lots of them on this trail. A bit too early for them, but going to be a good crop. I'm finding tons of berries this year. Also have lots of wild raspberry around here, so those are going to mature probably end of July-ish around here, so looking forward to that. Make lots of pies and tarts and things like that with all these fresh summer berries. Ah, I love fresh berries. Lots of good nutrients in there for you, including vitamin C. Lots of beautiful flowers right now here on the forest edge. This one's called hawkweed. Beautiful, striking orange. It's excellent butterfly food and just a delight to see on the trail. It's a beautiful member of the rose family. Take a look at that. It's a stunning flower. And looks like they're ready to open up. Just beautiful. And these flowers will produce a beautiful fruit that looks sort of like a large raspberry. It's very tasty. Yay, here we go. In this area, we definitely have some mature dewberries. So if we take a quick peek and we'll get down closer, you can see the dewberries. They're very low to the ground. Very low to the ground, kind of like, just sort of like almost like a wild strawberry, very low. And they usually produce, a couple of these little berries per plant. So, ooh, it's on there pretty good. Doesn't want to let go. Let's try one. Very tart and very good. Just like a small raspberry. They take forever to pick because they're kind of scattered throughout the forest. And like I said, there's only like 1 or 2, maybe 3 little berries per plant. So you kind of get ravaged by the bugs picking these, but it is so worth it. Here are some bunch berries. And, they ripen end of summer, I find, early fall-ish. And they produce a berry. And one of my YouTube friends there, Dave Wilcox Jr., he likes to put some bunch berries in as a pectin source when he's making jams and jellies. So definitely going to try that this year for sure once they mature. Lots of them around this part of the woods right here. Here's wild raspberry. Obviously not going to come out just yet, but good to note it. I definitely find it around disturbed areas on forest edges, fields. Just propagates like crazy. Which is a good thing because I love raspberries. Well, as a forager, you got to be careful of lots of things. And one of them is poison ivy. So hidden in here are those leaves of 3. Those ones right there and there. That is poison ivy. So if you bend down, you're kind of harvesting some berries down in here. You touch that and that and that, you're going to have a problem. You're going to get a rash and be very sore. I tend to be fairly resistant to the poison ivy, but I'm not going to press my luck. And I always wash up, if I've had exposed legs or hands, by the time I get home with some dish soap just to get any of the oils off that could lead to getting a horrible blistering rash. And one of the natural treatments for itchy poison ivy is sort of ground up jewelweed. I don't have an example around here, but it usually grows near poison ivy, ironically enough. And that can be very helpful if you have a very itchy rash from poison ivy. I've never tried it myself, but lots of folks have told me it works pretty well. Well, I spoke too soon. Here's some chanterelles. They're really tiny. They're just up here on one of my trails into the woods. So they're up earlier than I would even anticipate. They're really small right now, obviously. So I'm going to kind of leave the rest of the crop to mature for the season, but at least I've got 3 to get started. Yay! Well, I'm making my way back to the cabin now, and I'm just going to head out to the field. I want to show you there's the most fabulous early summer edible out there. Well, the sun has come out. Hooray. So I've made some trails in the field here. We'll go take a look and I'll show you what I found. So you have to look hard, but if you look down here, we have some field strawberries. The field is full of them. And you can see a lot of them are starting to ripen. So they're really tiny, but they are packed full of flavor. The field is like chock-a-block with these. So probably should have come out here when it was a little overcast because I'm going to be out here picking for a while. But there you go. They're field strawberries. They're a wild strawberry. They're really tiny, but they are so full of flavor. So good. I can't wait to make these into tarts or something. Wow. I can't believe such a strong, sweet flavor. It's catching me in the throat. It's so sweet. It comes out of such a little tiny berry. Even it has like really more flavor than the dewberry itself, which is hard to believe because they're pretty powerfully flavored. So I'm going to be here picking some of these. Sun's blazing, so I don't know how long I'm going to be out here, how long I'm going to stand it. But I might have to come back later in the evening to get the rest of them. So lots of good stuff out there, including a lot of the berries coming up, ripening. Can't wait. Blueberry season will be in about a month and a half or so. Well, at least in August, we should be able to see some of those blueberries around here. So very exciting. Now that's how you pick strawberries. Look at that cluster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 ripening. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Let's take a look here. So this is some milkweed. You guys know that I love to cook the milkweed pods. It's common milkweed. I like to cook the milkweed pods and make a salad out of them. Of course, you have to prepare them very specially because there is a toxin in there. But I don't know if you realize this, guys, but you can eat the flower heads of the milkweed. It kind of looks like broccoli. And, you can parboil them and then pan fry them. Just an awesome addition to your meal. So I'm going to grab some of these. Oh, you can see the latex in them right there. So that's why I prepare my milkweed just by boiling them for about 10 minutes or so. Just to kind of get rid of the toxins in there. But this is going to be really tasty. The field we have is really full of milkweed in different spots. There's lots more over here. In the backfield as well. Oh, there's a big cluster of flower heads right there. So I'm going to harvest some of these. I know it can be controversial harvesting them. It is butterfly food, especially for monarchs. But I've been harvesting milkweed here for a while now, and we have a huge monarch population. Of course, always responsibly forage. You're not going to pick every single flower head that you can find. People have been foraging for milkweed for millennia. So we still have a good monarch butterfly population in this area. So I feel confident that it's fine to harvest them, but just be responsible about it. We have lots and lots and lots of milkweed in this field. Certainly some pockets are heavier than others, but the common milkweed here, as you can see, it's got these little clusters and pink flowers. So I'm just going to take the little flower heads there and pop them in my basket. And we'll cook them up later. Again, I sort of boil them first and then kind of pan fry them, or pan fry them in oil. I think some people even make fritters out of them. It's pretty exciting. I just love hearing how other people prepare wild food. So if you prepare something like this, please let me know down below in the comments. Now please take note, there are milkweeds out there that are toxic not only to you but to your pets. So make sure you identify them properly. You don't want to get sick. Don't use this video as identification. You need to check out the kinds of milkweed in your area and get a couple of books just to make sure you're harvesting the right kind of milkweed. For my clover, I've sort of switched now to my mesh bag because what I want to do is I want to dry these out for tea. So just put what I have in my basket, and I'm just continuing to pick, but putting them in the mesh because I will let these dry out nicely for my tea. Another thing in the field here is juniper, and the juniper berries aren't quite ripe yet. They tend to turn like a dark purplish color. So these are good for a good wild yeast source for some of my wild sodas and beers and wines. Not all junipers are edible, but this is a really good crop this year. We'll just wait until they're ready to be harvested. Fast forward, getting ready for supper, and I'm gonna have paneer curry tonight, an Indian dish. So I'm getting the stove all fired up, and I'm gonna prepare my oysters, and I'm gonna boil the milkweed flower heads. Some folks steam them for 5 to 10 minutes, but I'm just gonna boil them. Oh, looks like I did not rinse off a little larvae. Extra protein, right? So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, well, that looks great. And there are the milkweed flower buds. Looks a bit like broccolini. So can't wait. Yum. Well, thanks guys so much for tuning in to today's foray, a little early summer foraging at the property, and making a great supper. So it smells amazing. I wish you guys could smell it. All right, thanks so much. I hope you guys have a great week as always. Take care.